Hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, let me see if I can get this going. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we are going to get it together. Okay, everything is good. I hope. Let's go. Welcome to another episode of RX Info on the Go. I am Dr. Ravin, PharmD, and I am here to give you some more information that you never knew you needed to know, something like that. Anyway, um, if y'all can't tell, I'm very, very I'm silly, but I like to have fun with y'all, and I like to give you information that you need. So today's topic is going to be brompheniramine. But before we do that, let's get all the particulars out the way. If you would do me a favor and like, tag, and share. That's like, tag, and share. I would appreciate it. Get the word out. Share, share, share with all the people who may need to know this information. And I would so appreciate it. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to all those YouTube channels. Well, not all those, one YouTube channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and all the other social media that I have out there, TikTok, um, oh goodness, Facebook, Instagram, and just even Thread. So I thank you for your support, and please go ahead and follow me so you can get a notification when these videos are going live. We go live every Wednesday, 12 o'clock. I try to stay on for no longer than 15 minutes, sometimes 30. When I first started off, it was a little bit longer, but I just want to make sure that you get the information that you needed. So, when we first, let's start with brompheniramine is another antihistamine. It is cough and cold season, so I want to make sure that you know what choices that you have to take medications over the counter. Now, brompheniramine is a little bit different than some of the other ones. Brompheniramine is actually used in prescription products still in combination with some other ingredients. So we'll get into that in just a second. So it is a first generation antihistamine. Brompheniramine is a first generation antihistamine, just like your Benadryl, just like chlorpheniramine, which is why they all kind of rhyme. I don't know if you've noticed it, but diphenhydramine, chlorpheniramine, brompheniramine. If you say it too fast, you'll end up messing them all up. But they all kind of sound alike, and that's going to be indicative to a lot of these different classes of drugs. The ending will sound alike, and that's what we call a Me Too drug. They work exactly the same way. Sometimes they have the same side effect profile, sometimes they do not. What happens is that they will, test one medication, they see that it's working fine, and they start altering different parts of that chemical structure, which gives you another drug. So that's how we end up with these Me Too drugs. And then they find something that has a different, sorry, a different side effect profile. So that's how brompheniramine is going to work. It works exactly the same way that your Benadryl and chlorpheniramine works, which is on the histamine 1 receptors. And it's going to work for pretty much the same thing as well. It's going to be used for your allergic rhinitis, sneezing, itchy, watery eyes, itchy nose and throat, typically used for those things. Now, you will not find brompheniramine typically on the shelf by itself. It is not one of those ingredients that is just sitting in a box like Benadryl or marketed Benadryl, but it is sold in combination with other ingredients. So you'll find it in Dimetapp, or you'll find it in the prescription, which is Bromphed DM. The brand name is no longer made, but the generic is still very much made. And that Bromphed DM has 3 ingredients in it. Dimetapp, depending on whether it's the cold and allergy, cold and cough, is gonna let you know what ingredients are gonna be in there. But brompheniramine is the antihistamine that is used in that Dimetapp product. So Dimetapp over the counter, Bromphed prescription. Just know that the Dimetapp and Brompheniramine, they're actually very similar, The one that is over the counter, which is Dimetapp, is going to have phenylephrine in it, whereas the prescription version has pseudoephedrine in it. And that is the big difference between the two. If you ever run up on a situation where your doctor writes a prescription for Bromfed DM and your insurance will not cover it, they'll say OTC available. That is because Dimetapp is very similar, except it has phenylephrine in it instead of pseudoephedrine. Two different nasal decongestants that are in there, but they do the same thing. And that's why you'll sometimes run into an issue with your insurance company on covering Bromfed DM. Now, that was a lot. The combinations of Bromfed or Brompheniramine, I should say, the combinations of Brompheniramine will typically be with Brompheniramine and dextromethorphan. That's one combination. So that's going to be for allergies and cough. You'll have Brompheniramine, dextromethorphan, and pseudoephedrine. That's going to be the Bromfed DM prescription version, and that's going to be for cold and cough symptoms as well. You will have the Brompheniramine, dextromethorphan, and phenylephrine. That is the Dimetapp version, and that's going to be for cold, cough, allergies. Same thing. Um, and then the last one is brompheniramine and phenylephrine. It's just going to be the antihistamine and decongestant combination. And that's going to be pretty much for your allergy type people who are, have allergies every single day. That will help with that runny nose, watery eyes, stuffy nose, that kind of thing. So, um, I think I kind of I think I covered it. Sorry. I think I kind of covered it. But in the brompheniramine in combination with the dextromethorphan is all pretty much always going to be for a cough. And then the one with the combination for pseudoephedrine or phenylephrine is going to be for allergy symptoms that include stuffy nose as well. For your OTC products, the ones that you are going to use over the counter, that's that Dimetapp product. For the OTC items, please make sure that you are taking the medication the way that it is suggested on the package. For the OTC items, I don't have a set list of what you're supposed to take it as for the OTC items, just because there's a variety of them. But please follow the directions that are on the label. The directions on the label are there for a reason, because some of these products vary. So please, please, please pay attention to the label and take the medication Dimetapp according to that. Now, that's one thing. Now, we mentioned that brompheniramine is in a prescription product called Bromfed DM. And for adults, you can take, or 12 and older, rather, for adults and 12 and older, you can take 10 milliliters every 4 hours as needed, with a maximum of 40 milliliters per day. That's equivalent to what, 8 teaspoonfuls per day. So just make sure that we're sticking to the maximum and not taking any more than what's going to be on that prescription label. Your label is always going to tell you what you can take, and as needed does not mean in between that shortened interval time. So if you're supposed to take something as needed or every 4 hours as needed, your prescription label should say every 4 to 6 hours, every 4 hours, every 6 hours, something like that, as needed. That means that by the time that 4 hours come back around, you can take it again, but not necessarily that you have to take it again. If you're not having any symptoms, if you're feeling better, then there's no need for you to take it. But if you're still having some issues and it is, 4 hours has passed, you can go ahead and take it again. What we don't want you to do when you see as needed is for you to take it under the frequency that is on that label. So if that label says every 4 hours, please do not take it every 2 hours or every 3 hours. You want to take it exactly how your label says, every 4 hours as needed. That's what as needed means. As needed does not mean that you take it whenever you feel like taking it. As needed means you take it at the frequency if you actually need it at that point. So 4 hours come back around, you take it if you need it. If you're feeling better, skip that dose. If another 4 hours rolls back around and you feel like you need it, go ahead and take it. Um, excuse me, allergies. My goodness. Okay, so for 2 to 5 year olds, they can take this Dimetap product. I'm sorry, this Bromfed DM product as a prescription. For 2 to 5 year olds, they would take 2.5 milliliters every 4 hours as needed, maximum of 10 milliliters per day. And for 6 to 11 year olds, they would take 5 milliliters every 4 hours as needed, maximum of 20 milliliters per day. Now, there are not that many doctors that are going to write for prescriptions for under 6 years old just because of the antihistamine that's in there. Antihistamines can sometimes be sedating. So, if at all possible, we try to avoid writing for Bromfed for under a 6 year old. And sometimes you'll find that your insurance will say, no, we're not going to cover it for that age because there is an over the counter product that's available. Um, that's that. Now, contraindication. Brompheniramine is contraindicated in first trimester pregnancy. So if you are pregnant in your first trimester, brompheniramine is not the choice for you. That is not going to be the antihistamine that you want to use. Your doctor should give you a list of all of the antihistamines that you can take over the counter, but brompheniramine is not one of those. Uh, it's also contraindicated with people who are experiencing urinary retention, uncontrolled or severe hypertension. If you are someone that has uncontrolled or severe hypertension, this antihistamine is not going to be for you. And of course, I mentioned anyone that is under the age of 2, you want to make sure that these kiddos do not get the brompheniramine. It is not going to be for them. Now, drug interactions are going to be a little bit different with this one. Actually, not so much. Anything that causes CNS depression, anything that causes you to get drowsy, anything that causes you to become a little, disoriented, things like that, those medications that you're taking, if you happen to take them with brompheniramine, that particular antihistamine, it can make things worse. So we want to make sure that you are not taking those things in combination because it can, really take you out of, you know, for lack of better words, out of your mind. Um, it will depress you, slow down your system significantly if you add that on top of another medication that does the same. Um, what is a little bit interesting with this one is that brompheniramine has been shown to cause tachycardia, which is an increased heart rate. Your heart is, beating faster than what it should. That happens with that particular antihistamine. So it slows down everything else, but it does increase your heart rate. It then increase, how hard your heart is pumping. Um, so that's something for you to watch out for. And last but not least, it's going to be the adverse reactions for brompheniramine. It's going to be drowsiness, dizziness, blurred vision, urinary retention. You shouldn't be taking it if you have that anyway, but it can cause that. Tachycardia, which I just discussed, headache, constipation, and photosensitivity. So if you are taking brompheniramine for a few days because of allergies, it happens to be sunny outside, make sure that you're wearing your sunscreen because that means you will burn more easily. So just keep that in mind. And yes, people who have melanin do burn as well. So always wear your sunscreen. So that's going to be it for um, brompheniramine. And it's a lot. It's a little bit different from the other ones just because there is a prescription version of it versus just being over the counter. So that's important to know. Now I've seen Bromfed DM, dispensed on a regular basis during cough and cold season. If you happen to get a prescription for it, great. Just make sure you follow the directions that are on the label. If you can't get the Bromfed DM, and you're having, really bad cough and cold symptoms, Dimetap is a very good option for that as well. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can DM me, or you can go to my website, www.drravenpharmd.com. I'd appreciate if you go over there anyway, hit that subscribe button so you'll get any emails from me, as well as they have some merchandise there as well, if you wouldn't mind supporting me, especially if you're a believer. If you are a believer in Jesus Christ, I have some prescriptions for real life merchandise there, where we just depend on the things that God would prescribe. And if you go to the website, you'll see what I'm talking about. There are prescriptions, shirts that say prescriptions for peace and courage and faith and trust. Not trust, truth, but actually it should be one for trust too. For truth. So I have about 10 different variations, different colors. I have shirts, sweatshirts. I have tumblers and coffee mugs. If you need your daily dose of whatever it is from the Lord our God, is there for you. So do me a favor, please, and support there. I also have some books that are on my website as well. If you could support me there as well, I would appreciate it. And this has been my time. I thank you so much for tuning in, and I pray that you have an amazing Wednesday. Have an amazing Wednesday. I love you guys. I will see